Whether you love him or hate him, we can all argue that Elon Musk is one of the busiest people on the planet. In interviews, he admitted spending between 80 to 100 hours a week leading the most valuable car company in the world while plotting to transport humans to Mars and juggling his other ventures. How does he do it? When I was researching this topic, I found countless reports indicating that he uses the 5-minute rule, where he divides his time into 5-minute time blocks for each task. However, Elon has denied these claims in a tweet back in 2018 saying, "I definitely don't do this 5-minute thing. Need to have long uninterrupted times to think. Can't be creative otherwise." So later, I found an interview with Walter Isaacson, the writer who wrote Elon's autobiography. He said that Elon would perform extreme context switching within a day. For example, he would worry about the video upload feature on X.com, formerly known as Twitter, and then switching over to worrying about the FAA giving permits for Starship, and then switching to issues between Starlink and the CIA. There's also location switching. Mondays and Fridays are spent at SpaceX in Los Angeles or Boba Chica, and the rest of the week at Tesla or Twitter in San Francisco. In between these tasks, he would blow off steam by playing games like Polytopia or posting tweets, which may not be the best idea. Now, you might be thinking, this is great, but how does this work for non-billionaires like me? So the one thing that anyone can apply from all this is time blocking. Time blocking is a technique popularized by deep work author and productivity expert Cal Newport. It's a technique of visualizing blocks of time in your daily calendar that will be dedicated for a specific task. Whenever I talk about time blocking, I notice some people would feel uncomfortable because they feel it's a very, rigid and robotic way to live life. I strongly disagree. Here's the thing. I believe that because I do time blocking, I unlock more freedom. I'm able to fully focus on what I'm doing, and I'm more aware of the free blocks of time that I have. And this awareness allows me to move things around more easily because I won't forget them. Here's why time blocking is powerful. Number one, it allows focus. When you know you need to do task X at this time, you have a better chance of fighting distractions. Asking questions like, should I check my email at this time? It becomes counterintuitive. This minimizes decision fatigue. Number two, it helps you improve your estimations. Even though you will screw up your estimates in the beginning, eventually you'll improve because you get real feedback on your time blocks. Number three, you'll have more awareness of the right timing to do a specific task. You'll start to realize how different tasks may have different nuanced requirements. For example, exercising in between 2 physical meetings where you have to move to different places may not be a good idea. Okay, if you want to learn how to implement time blocking, you first need to pay the cost. Please hit subscribe if you haven't already. It's free and it's easy to do, and it means the world to small creators like me. Thanks. Okay, I'm going to assume you already hit subscribe. Now let's get started. The first thing to do is to list down tasks. Allocate 5 to 10 minutes every day to do some time blocking. Start with a brain dump of all the tasks you have in mind. Just list them all out. Don't worry about the mess. And the next step, add tasks as 30 to 60-minute blocks of time in your calendar. I strongly recommend using a digital calendar and letting technology become your personal assistant. You see, technology doesn't forget or make any mistakes, and it will send reminders to you automatically so your brain can focus on creativity and problem solving. Now, there's no rule for determining the unit of time for each time block, but I find 1-hour time blocks work best. If you have big tasks that require a long time to finish, break them down into smaller subtasks and slot them into your daily time blocks. You can adjust the time blocks later as you have a better idea of the actual time needed. Number three, add some empty blocks as buffer. You will be wrong with most of your estimates. Humans fall victim to the planning fallacy, where we tend to underestimate the amount of time it will take to complete a task. We tend to forget that switching between one task to another can take a bit of time. For example, changing locations from recording video in the studio to heading out to a cafe for a meeting. There's also context switching, between remembering different keyboard shortcuts to knowing where different menu buttons are. Our brains will need time to readjust. For example, changing tools, from writing in Microsoft Word to cutting footage in a video editor. Moving on to the next step, adjust the timing when necessary. Analyze the difference between your estimations and the actual time spent for each time block. Understand why you took more time than expected and vice versa. some things you might be able to finish faster than you thought. You'll start noticing how some tasks naturally flow from one to the other when done together. For example, I find that when I go for a jog in the morning, it's best to continue working in a cafe and then head straight to pick up my kids at school. After a while, you will also form your own flow combos and experience increased productivity. Now, there's also further optimizations you can do. You can use colors to group tasks based on their type. For example, meetings can be blue, red can be for content creation, and gray for admin work. You should also keep experimenting on the groupings of the tasks to simplify your time blocks. For example, instead of creating multiple time blocks for thumbnail design, writing, and recording, it could be just all a large time block called content creation. This will depend on how confident you are with your time blocks regarding those type of tasks. In the beginning, it's best to just keep them as small, separate blocks. Okay, but here's the thing. While time blocking gives you more awareness of your daily schedule, you won't reach your full potential if you don't change your habits. There's a small change you can make to fix that. Check out this video to find out more.